The society of the spectacle. In societies where modern conditions of production prevail, all of life presents itself as an immense accumulation of spectacles. Everything that was directly lived has moved away into a representation. What better example of an immense accumulation of spectacles than the world's most prestigious, glamorous fashion event? The Met Gala. Every year on the first Monday of May, the Manhattan Metropolitan Museum of Art hosts a fundraiser for their Costume Institute. Personalities who are perceived to be culturally relevant to contemporary society amongst various professional spheres, including fashion, film, television, music, theater, business, sports, social media, and politics, are invited to attend. Establishing itself as the epicenter of cultural relevance, of course, an invitation is highly sought after. But the event usually only hosts about 450 attendees, according to Vogue magazine, and one ticket costs $75,000. More than the average American's entire yearly salary. This year, the gala brought in a record $31 million, the highest of any year in its 77-year history. And while the red carpet portion of the event is highly publicized and photographed, the actual event is not, and attendees are not allowed to have their phones to capture the actual event, meaning we outsiders will never see the actual festivities, only the outfits, the images. If you ever needed an example to understand class elitism, this is it. Exclusivity, extravagance, and the notion that we, the elite, are the ones who define art and culture, are the ones that make change and propel society forward. We, the elite, are the most important, the most successful, the most powerful. The Met Gala is the proof that we are living in the society of the spectacle. We have become content with taking something real and turning it into a mere representation through images and media. They give a theme, something that people believe to be a revolutionary idea, and then reduce it to extravagant images that hypnotize and distract people so thoroughly that they won't think about the actual revolutionary idea that was presented. They distract us with spectacle, with sensationalism, so that we won't even think about the fact that we are living amidst such injustice, violence, and catastrophe, let alone be able to fight it. In Guy Debord's book, The Society of the Spectacle, which I quoted in the beginning, he writes, "The spectacle presents itself simultaneously as all of society, as part of society, and as an instrument of unification. As a part of society, it is specifically the sector which concentrates all gazing and all consciousness. Due to the very fact that this sector is separate, it is the common ground of the deceived gaze and of false consciousness. And the unification it achieves is nothing but an official language of generalized separation. The common ground of the deceived gaze and of false consciousness."
This is the night that everyone's going to pay attention to. It's going to be really beautiful. This is the night that everyone's going to pay attention to. This is the night that everyone's going to pay attention to. This is the night that everyone's going to pay attention to. It's going to be a really beautiful room.
The Met Gala takes the ideas of revolution and rebellion and reduces them to images, disguised as an elaborate act of love for haute couture, art, and culture. It's actually just a gross display of the oppressive elitism that rules every part of our world. A space created for a very small fraction of society deemed the important people, while the masses can only look on in awe, salivating at their beauty and glory, but never given a seat at the table. Never be given a microphone for their voice. Of course, fashion and art are beautiful, necessary aspects of human expression, but they don't come at the cost they're selling. Culture, community, and self-expression don't cost $75,000, but commodity does. Commodities, which are things, whether tangible or intangible, that can be bought, can be priced any kind of way. It's all made up. And the main thing that drives up the price of commodities is scarcity. And exclusivity creates scarcity. the false kind. Real scarcity is the Irish potato famine and Israel not allowing aid trucks with food and supplies into the Gaza Strip for months. Fake scarcity is when a company says, we only have 100 pieces for this drop, limited stock, get them while you can, even when they might actually have 1,000 or be able to get 10,000 from the factory. They fabricate exclusivity. Only some people can get this. There's a limited amount, which creates the illusion of scarcity, which allows them to price things high, even when they're not necessarily worth that amount. I hope this is making sense, but if not, let's break it down more. Think of the Met Gala tickets as a commodity. The tangible thing being bought here is entrance to the event. The intangible thing being bought is the status, the prestige, the attention, the social capital. But remember, there's a limited amount of spots and you have to be invited and you have to be wealthy and you have to be famous. They create the illusion of exclusivity, of scarcity, and boom, they have a $31 million cash out that no one will question. As for the consumers, the attendees, they get to have a seat at the table with the elites and be obscenely wealthy together, which presumably feels good for them and benefits them professionally and financially as public figures. Debord talks about the general acceptance of the illusion at the heart of the consumption of modern commodities. The real consumer becomes a consumer of illusions. The commodity is this factually real illusion, and the spectacle is its general manifestation. While millions of dollars worth of wealth and resources and hours upon hours of time and energy are devoted to this one night of extravagance for the wealthy elite, just know that there are people living on the street with nothing to eat just a few blocks away. Just know that as they're walking the red carpet in their $10,000 outfits that they're going to wear one time, our government is facilitating the dropping of bombs and forced starvation of millions of people just across the Atlantic Ocean. Just know that even with all our modern day technological innovations and alleged economic prosperity, food insecurity has not gotten better over the past 20 years. In fact, it's gotten worse over the past 3 years. Most of you have probably seen or heard of The Hunger Games, a dystopian series set in a future North America where there is a wealthy capital and 12 districts which get increasingly more impoverished. District 12, where the protagonists are from, being the most poor. Isn't it interesting how much we love and glorify poor people in movies and fiction, but hate them and vilify them in real life? All 12 districts, not the capital, are forced to participate in the annual Hunger Games, where 2 names get chosen from each district to get sent to the games to fight to the death, where there can only be one victor. Every child aged 12 and up is put in the lottery to be potentially chosen. However, children could choose to enter their name an unlimited number of additional times, with every additional ticket put into the lottery being worth a set of food rations for the entrant's family. Meanwhile, in the capital, they feast. They dress in elaborate clothing and makeup and have fancy technology. They live in luxury and leisure, indulging in more commodities than they can even consume, never once having to fear for their own survival. You know why I love dystopian novels? It's because they show us our own ridiculous reality by spoon-feeding it to us as exaggerated fiction. We may not be picked out of a bowl and sent to fight to our deaths in a simulated reality while a rich audience watches, but are we not mindlessly overindulging in luxury and leisure while occasionally watching other humans in other parts of the world burn alive and wither to bone? Or worse, we know it's happening and we choose to look away and then go out to dinner at our fancy restaurants and order more food than we can even eat, or go shopping for overpriced luxury goods that we don't need and will probably end up throwing away after a little while. Met Monday is an unintentionally satirical way of broadcasting our own dystopia, and many of us don't even realize it. Instead of being disgusted by it, we drool at the beauty of it and say, this is art. Distracted by spectacle, hypnotized by images that try to represent an ideal that doesn't actually exist in real life for the majority of the population. This video does an amazing job referencing the Hunger Games as an example of how we've reduced revolution to a spectacle that we watch as opposed to a real thing that we engage in. The Hunger Games and many other similar films are centered around a revolutionary protagonist that the audience roots for unanimously. We love the concept of fighting the power everywhere except in real life. We cheer on Katniss on the screen, but look away when real-life revolutionaries and freedom fighters are abducted and imprisoned without warning or due process. Go check out that video for more on that. It's linked below. So to reiterate, art, expression, and joy are revolutionary acts. They are an escape. But if someone is in such a position of privilege that they're able to spend $75,000 to play dress up for one night in an outfit that costs $10,000 to create, they are not the ones using art as an escape. They're the ones who need to be using their privilege to fight for things that actually matter. If you don't know, every year the gala has a theme, which dictates the attire for the attendees, the food, the decor, and everything about the event. Past themes have been Heavenly Bodies, Fashion, and the Catholic Reimagination from 2018, which I would say explored the revolutionary idea that what we perceive as sacred and separate from us may not be as separate and far removed as we like to believe, pushing that controversial boundary of religious conservatism and holiness. Another theme was In America, a Lexicon of Fashion from 2021, which sought to highlight American designers that engage thoughtfully with ideas like diversity, inclusivity, sustainability, gender fluidity, and body positivity. It was centered around the question, who gets to be an American? Exploring the revolutionary idea of American identity, moving away from cultural homogeneity into something more diverse and inclusive. This year's theme was Superfine, Tailoring Black Style, which was inspired by Monica Miller's 2009 book, Slaves to Fashion, Black Dandyism, and the styling of Black diasporic identity. A dandy is a man who places particular importance upon physical appearance and personal grooming, refined language, and leisurely hobbies. Traditionally associated with European aristocracy, Black dandyism emerged as a way for Black Americans to challenge racial hierarchies and assert autonomy and individuality, fighting against the constant degradation and policing of their existence. Black dandies defied the notion that refinement and mobility were exclusive to whiteness, using fashion to reclaim dignity in exclusionary societies. Naturally, this year's theme placed Black designers and creatives at the forefront and sought to uplift the revolutionary ideas, both gender fluidity and the dissolution of the racial hierarchy. Black is beautiful, Black is classy, Black is upper echelon. While the idea does mark forward progress, there's much to be said about how the concept of Black excellence is still very much tied to oppressive and restrictive capitalist metrics, reinforcing class hierarchy while still not achieving true liberation for the majority of the Black community. Yes, Black people are now being recognized for their cultural contributions, but those being celebrated and idolized are the ones that are famous and wealthy. Poor Black communities continue to be criminalized and suffer disproportionately. So what are we actually celebrating here? Still class elitism. Our society and events like the Met Gala reinforce this idea of we like Black people now, but only if they're rich, famous, successful, and apolitical. All those Black people that are wrongfully imprisoned and brutalized by law enforcement, all those Black communities being poisoned with toxins and trapped in food deserts, not important right now because look, Black excellence. Not saying we shouldn't celebrate Black excellence or any of the other revolutionary ideas presented by the other themes in past years, but we can't let ourselves be so distracted by the spectacle of it all that we forget about the work that actually has to be done in real life outside of the pretty glamorous images. Ultimately, the revolution will not be televised. The wealthy 1% playing dress up in their intricate costumes and putting together millions of dollars in one night that will cycle right back into the wealthy 1% is not revolution. It's a cosplay of revolution. Jill Scott Heron in his 1971 song said, "You will not be able to stay home, brother. You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and cop out. The revolution will not be brought to you by the Schaefer Award Theater, because the revolution will not be televised." Social change and progress is not a spectacle. It's not a picture of Lewis Hamilton, the first and only Black Formula One driver, sporting a classy, refined, all-white look. And it's definitely not a picture of Kylie Jenner walking the red carpet in a herringbone halter neck dress by a Black designer, Maximilian Davis. We can't let ourselves be distracted by spectacular images and soothed by the elaborate performance of revolutionary ideas. We must demand the real revolution. And it begins in the mind, it begins internally, and it happens in the streets, in real life, with real people. It definitely doesn't happen in the closed rooms where only the wealthy elite are allowed to be. Those are my thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it was helpful. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments, whether you disagree, whether you agree. I would love to hear them. And if you enjoy conversations like this, be sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on your post notifications so you can be notified every time I upload in the future. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!